I'm Diane Honeycutt, one of your 5 at-large Cabarrus County Commissioners. Today we're filming our new show, Out and About, which will take our commissioners to different corners of our community where we'll talk about topics that will be of interest to you. Today we're in Harrisburg at the Rocky River Coffee Company, and we're honored to have as our guest Scott Cole with the North Carolina Department of Transportation, who will discuss some of the local projects in the Harrisburg area, as well as our mayor, Steve Shasha, and we'll be interested in hearing from him what his council is looking forward to in the new budget year. So with that said, let's get our conversation started. So hey Scott, we're honored to have you here with us today and appreciate you taking your time to share your knowledge about what's happening in the area.
Thank you, great to be here.
So I've been in Harrisburg a lot over the last several months and been affected by some of the construction that's going on, which is related to the railroad project. And so I was hoping that you could give us a little bit of history about how this project came about and why.
Sure. We actually have 4 rail projects going on currently in the town of Harrisburg. One is a 12-mile double tracking project where we're adding a second set of tracks parallel to the existing set of tracks. When completed, this double tracking project will provide a second set of tracks, a continuous second set of tracks between Charlotte and Greensboro. This will improve freight, passenger, multimodality, and connectivity. So it'll allow more trains to move with more ease, less delay. It will also, we also have 3 grade separations going on where state roads are being carried over and across the rail corridor. These result in more reliable travel for the motorists and safer travel for the motorists, as there's no longer an interaction between the trains and the motoring vehicles.
And can you share with us which roads those are?
Sure. Far Mill Road, and that project is nearing completion. Caldwell Road, and Roberta Road.
Okay. I had the honor of being at the Harrisburg Town Council meeting Monday night and heard you give a presentation that gave an update and timeline on some of the different particular pieces of the project. For those people who are not able to attend, can you kind of give us some timelines on some of those major parts of that project?
The double tracking project is the biggest project we have going on right now, and it will take the longest. So it will probably be around the 1st of 2017 before it's complete. Now all the closures and the traffic shifts associated with that will be complete long before that. The Far Mill grade separation that I'd mentioned previously is scheduled to be complete and in its final traffic pattern the end of this month. So we are very nearly complete on that project. Roberta Road and Caldwell Road will take a little bit longer. Caldwell is currently our main emphasis, and we hope to have Caldwell open in the fall of this year. Roberta Road shortly thereafter. If we're not able to get it open this fall, it may be next spring before it is completely open.
And do you find that the residents have a certain road that they're hoping you open sooner than later, or are they all pretty equally painful to residents?
Well, I think, Roberta and Caldwell are very closely related. I think Caldwell serves a wider area and a wider volume of traffic, and I think that's everyone's emphasis right now.
Well, great. Well, we really appreciate you taking time to be with us today. As I said, I've experienced some of the challenges, but I'm sure that the pain is going to be worth the gain.
Absolutely.
And we, like I say, just appreciate you being here and look forward to seeing a successful conclusion to those projects. And thank you for what you're doing to make it as smooth as possible for the residents of Harrisburg.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next guest is the Mayor of Harrisburg, Steve Shasha. Welcome, Steve. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
I am fortunate enough to serve as the liaison for the Harrisburg Town Council, and so I've had the opportunity to see what you guys have going on, and I'm always impressed at the level of energy, the projects, and everything that's happening here. So we wanted to just ask you a few questions today. We'll start with the rail project. So that obviously has had effect on you guys, and we know that communicating with your residents what's going on in the community so they know what roads are closed and how they can get around is, I'm sure, a critical piece of what you guys have tried to accomplish during this time. And just curious what methods you've done to get the word out to your residents.
Absolutely. That was very important for us to make sure that we over-communicate in every possible measure that we could take. So we started off with the website. We have a specific link that links us to the projects associated with this. as well as Facebook. We use Twitter. We actually did mailings. Scott Cole, who you just spoke with, he shows up every other month to provide us with the latest and greatest updates, and we constantly push that out. Some of us council folks have our own personal Facebook pages. We're also pushing it out. So we feel like we over-communicate. I don't think the message is necessarily what people want to hear, but that's, we're getting it out there. They're absolutely aware. In addition, our economic development director is reaching out to the businesses that will be impacted by road closures to give them an opportunity to figure out how to best navigate around what's happening to their businesses.
That's great. Well, I know that, again, you guys are very aggressive and you're looking after the interest of Harrisburg. And just curious, I'm sure that you have worked to make sure that you get the full benefit out of the rail project to the town of Harrisburg, and just curious about some of the ways that you've done that.
Absolutely. The first thing we did is actually start a railroad committee. The chairs were Benita Conrad, now Councilwoman Benita Conrad, and Councilman Phil Cowherd. We started that committee to work closely with NCDOT to make sure that we got everything that we wanted out of this whole project. The project originally started with just 2 bridges. That group worked hard to make sure that they added that 3rd bridge, which is now the Roberta Road Extension Bridge. So that was a huge victory for us, because without that bridge, we would suffer economic development issues as a result of that cutoff. As we progressed across the period of time, we added a 2nd lane into that same bridge, which was another huge win for us to plan for the future growth. Harrisburg is growing, one of the fastest growing in the area, so we made sure we covered that. And then we put on our pedestrian hat. We want to make sure that we can cross the bridges without being in a car. So all of the bridges will actually have a sidewalk crossing on each of those locations to allow for better crossing of those bridges. We made sure that public safety wasn't an issue. We made sure we have reciprocating agreements around the area to cover us in the event that one road that we now have open closes. Police and fire protection was really important for us, and we made sure that from an NCDOT perspective that they put officers at our critical crossings. There's a lot of congestion on the only road that we have, and each of those intersections were pretty painful to get in and out of. So at very peak times, they've actually installed police officers where we probably eventually will get lights, but that's helping with the flow of traffic and keeping things moving.
Well, we can't end our conversation with the mayor of Harrisburg without talking about your recent July 4th celebration. Always just a huge community event, not just for the citizens of Harrisburg, but through Cabarrus County and other parts of the region. So tell us a little bit about the success of that and maybe some of the other events that you might have coming up.
Absolutely. That is we are so proud of the Harrisburg 4th of July. We had over 60,000 people show up this year. We're proud of the staff that helps put it on and works 364 days to the next one to get that going. So that's a great event for us. Some of the other things we have going on is we're focusing on Parks and Rec. The new budget year is allocated some funds to allow us to move forward on acquiring additional park space for active and passive parks, which is sorely needed as our population is growing. We began community chat program. We're actually engaging the community with council on a more personal level instead of in a formal council setting to allow that interaction with each of the residents. And now we're actually started the same program with businesses. We'll have the local businesses show up, and we're going to try to grow and retain those guys in our area to make sure that they stay and are successful within the Harrisburg community.
That's great. So have you heard any good areas of suggestions from the residents that you have in your back of your head?
Well, no, typically it's mostly the complaints, but from a good suggestion, I think that they're helping us model this community chat that's turning more to what they're asking for. They want to actually interact more with us. The first time we attempted it was more trying to drive out our economic development opportunities that we have in the direction that we're trying to go in for Harrisburg. So they wanted more of a personal touch. Our next one will actually be one-on-one, sitting down with them and allowing them to completely interact with council. We'll see how that goes. We're hopeful that it's going to be good for both sides.
Very good. Well, before we close, I just want to ask about the cornhole tournament.
The cornhole.
So who won?
Well, David Henderson, who's his pastor at Venture Church, as well as who was his partner? John Booth, Councilman John Booth. So I was knocked out in the first round, so it was a little disappointing, but it'd be hard for me to win my own tournament. It would.
So you did a good job of laying low. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being here today. We appreciate your time. And as we close, I would just like to thank the viewing audience for viewing this first show of Out and About today, and let you know that commissioners were going to be in your areas coming soon. If there are certain topics that you have that would interest you, please don't hesitate to let us know. And in the meantime, we'll see you out and about.